Shamayim v'aretz ezrimeim Hashem oseh shamayim v'aretz. I lift my eyes to the mountains, from where will my help come? I lift my eyes to the mountain, from where will my help come? My help is from the Lord, creator of heaven and earth. My help is from the Lord, creator of heaven and earth. Esai Elai Elohim, me'ayin yavo ezri. Esai Elai Elohim, me'ayin yavo ezrimeim Hashem oseh shamayim v'aretz ezrimeim Hashem oseh shamayim v'aretz. Da 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 The Siyum, which is it's so inspiring to see what's been going on here. Really? Thank you. This Indian of the Siyumim that we're doing, it's so inspiring. And the food, the Siyum this morning is Leilui Nishmat Avram Chai Ben Yosef Shimon. תהא נשמתו צרורה בצרור החיים, שיהיה מליץ יושר אל עם ישראל, שלבטל כל הגזירות רעות, ורק נזכה לישועות ונחמות. And we're also be learning for the refuah shlema of Fega Golda Bas Tova, בתוך שאר כל חולים והפצועים. And I also want to say a big mazel tov to Goel, who married off his daughter this week, right? Mazel tov, beautiful. Shvei Simchas Binyan Adayad for Ad Bli Dai. Baruch Atah Adonai Elohim Mechlem She'akum Nemidvarim. All right. I'm so inspired because last night I was with the beautiful children of the youth of Yeshivat Makor Chaim with Rav Dov Zinger. And you see this room filled with like hundreds of eyes, young eyes that you could see they're experiencing life the way they're experiencing life right now, where half, if not more than half of their teachers and half of their parents are all in the army right now, are all in Miluim. And these kids, the eyes, I never felt, it's a lot of these moments of I never felt as good as, so there's that moment also. I've never felt so confident in the future than I was last night, seeing all these children, Yeshivat Makor Chaim, and the ruach there. And Rav Dov Zinger has been doing there for forever, has been so inspiring. And it's good to make more notice of the things that actually give you hope and make you feel good about tomorrow, to make more of a notice of it and speak about it more. More and more of this goodness of this, like seeing, like, Paul, here in Eretz Yisrael, there's a door that's not going to compromise. Alavai she'echel keinu imahim. Our chelik should be with them. Those eyes are not going to compromise on any shtiyot anymore. They won't. Just like our chayalim are not going to compromise. The door, this next door, they're not going to compromise. They know that we have to go the whole way and nothing less. And those eyes were very, very, very inspiring. And I'm just feeling very inspired by that and getting koyach from it. Were there any more Sfarim over there? No? Right, there's one more over here. I have also pages today. If you have the Sefer, what we're going to be seeing today is that the rest of the Maimer that we were learning was all about chinuch in general, but we want to talk dafka about Shabbos. This is Hachana Shabbos. And what we're going to be doing for the rest of this Sefer is looking at Shalom Aleichem, Eshes Chayil, Zmirot, Friday night, Shabbos day, to speak about the actual things we sing all the time. If you have the Sefer, it's Daf Kuf Samech Vav. Let me just share a little bit from the outside first. Before we see what Rav Ya'akov Meir Shechter, shlit'a is going to be teaching us. I realized that Good Shabbos is a horrible translation of Shabbat Shalom. It's not. It's actually not. It's maza. Yeah, it's a loze. Shabbat Shalom is something else. And Good Shabbos, trust me, I'm a big chassid of Good Shabbos. You know that, obviously. I have a picture of Maishla Good Shabbos by our candles, like it's in our. Good Shabbos has its own place too. Good Shabbos has its own room too. But Shabbat Shalom is something else. And when we begin Shabbos, when we begin Shalom Aleichem, the concept of Shalom is something that's another term. And notice, words like Nekama, words like Tikkun Olam, words like Or La'amim, phrases, all these phrases have been kidnapped and hijacked deep in tunnels. Deep in tunnels. So, as well as the concept of shalom. Shalom is also, peace has also been a word that has been used in such a negative manner. And our avoda even now is also to take the word shalom and understand, wait a second, what does that actually saying to us? What's that word shalom? Rav Shlomo used to say, people think that peace is a statement. It's a statement. It's not a statement at all. We're going to look at it through Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. And why dafka on Shabbos? This is it. Now, we did speak also earlier, maybe it was earlier this week, maybe it was last week, I'm not sure exactly, that right now for Jews to have Shalom with their Father in heaven is crucial. It always is. But right now to have Shalom between us and Borei Olam, mamash chashuv. And I want us to keep that in mind as we're going about what we're doing and continuing our march towards like the real never again. The real never again. Even I guess even that was to a certain extent. Never again is now placed in museums and in shrines, v'chulei, but you see that didn't do the job. It didn't do the job, as you know, right in front of my high school. And I went to, for a little bit when I was living in LA. I don't know if you saw, Alon, did you see this? Yeah. Right outside of where Alon and I went to the same high school, right outside of it, we were basically sharing the same campus of the Museum of Tolerance, Simon Wiesenthal Center in Los Angeles. Right outside, the Museum of Tolerance, Simon Wiesenthal Center, right? The Never Again headquarters of the West Coast, or whatever you want to call it. The most disgusting beating ups, mamish, Yidden having to walk around there, bepachad ve'ema. And these animals, these monsters also over there coming out and saying, in the name of like a ki'ilu, a desired peace, right? The real peace, we mamish a churban over there, right in front of our old high school, Pico Boulevard, Pico and Roxbury, right there. All these places that Kivyachol representing the word shalom, we see, Chevra, it's a joke. It's all a joke. We have to go back to our makor of what shalom is all about. We have to forget for a second about all the things that we've tried so hard to show the world and remember what it really is all about. So if you look inside Daf Kuf Samech Vav, it's a very short piece, but it's basically the secret of saying Shabbat Shalom Mevorach. And this should be a schus for us to reintroduce ourselves to this very important concept. Rabbeinu schus yagen aleinu b'Torah Yudale. That's a reference, kamuvan, to Likutei Moharan. Rabbeinu schus yagen aleinu ma'arich bevira inyan l'hamshich shalom ba'olam. In the 14th teaching in Likutei Moharan, Rabbi Nachman has a very long, complex, and wondrous whole ma'amar discourse on what does it mean to draw peace into the world. L'hamshich shalom ba'olam. בפשטות, הכוונה שיש שלום בין אדם לחברו, אך הכוונה הפנימית היא שלום כלפי שמיה. But everyone always says, okay, peace, where do we start with? Okay, achdus, in which we love each other, peace between each other. Fair, that's always a given. However, the concept of me making shalom with Hashem is a whole other story. It sounds so chutzpahdik. I have to make shalom with God? I have to make shalom with Hashem? מה זה השטויות האלה? שב בשקט, תשתוק ותמשיך הלאה. מה זה shalom with Hashem? Who speaks like this?
Is there a difference between shalom with Hashem and shalom with ourselves?
Okay. This is a very, very, very powerful nekuda. Hakavana pnimit shalom klapei shmaya. What is shalom klapei shmaya? What would be another word for shalom klapei shmaya? Very important midah. Probably bitachon. Shalom klapei shmaya means I have certainty that the way the world is being run is exactly how it's supposed to be run. What puts a block there in front of me? When, to me, it looks like the world is not being run the way that it's supposed to be run. Shalom, and that's the weekdays. That's the chol. That's the days of the week. Shabbos comes and brings this notion of shalom klapei shmaya. Hashem yitbarach chafetz. What does Hashem want? Shanivraim yelem shalom im Hashem yisbarach. Because Baruch Hu wants us to make shalom with Him. Meaning, not that Hashem is saying, "Oh, you're so brogus with me. I don't want to go into Shabbos if we're not on the same page." He's saying, "Look, I want you to now tune in to the notion that everything is being run by me. I want you to really, really, really open your heart and be very shalom with the Indian that I'm running the world. It doesn't. Now, this is the catch. It doesn't exempt you from doing everything that needs to be done. Le'efich. It actually inspires you and empowers you to bring more of the hakara that Hashem is running the show in the world. V'zeu ha-shalom ha'amiti. This is real peace. Real peace is when I have shalom with the way that Hashem is running the world. Now that doesn't mean accepting when you see sheker and pain in the world. Hashem is exposing that to you to be part of obliterating, mamish wiping that out from the world. It's not this. Shalom with Hashem isn't, if it brings any passive energy, passive behavior, we're missing the point. Shalom with Hashem is, the way that Hashem is running the world is absolutely, by Him, it's perfect. Shalom with Hashem also means that Hashem is exposing me, like the Baal Shem Tov's very apparent teaching throughout anything we have in the name of the Baal Shem Tov. If Hashem didn't want you to see something, you wouldn't see it. You wouldn't see it. And we have to make peace between those two things of A, Hashem is running the whole show, and everything is munhag exactly the way that He wants it to be. And B is, He's showing me things because He wants me to become shutaf with the bria of creation of a better world today and tomorrow and the next day and forever. But a person can only attain the koach to go out and do it and be a shutaf in that if he first comes to a place of shalom with Hashem. Now, like we said last week in Shir, after the Holocaust, this type of a dibur was impossible. And it was not expected. There were the tzaddikim, the gedolim that are living me'ala kochavim, and they're in total harmony and oneness with everything, despite the most horrific atrocities we've ever seen. And we spoke about this, that it was for years to be able to have that shalom with Hashem. It was like, you're here and I'm here. And we'll meet again, but now we can't be close. I saw an amazing thing by the tzaddikim that are dealing with the identification of bodies. You saw this? One statement. There was one line there that got me really, really to my core. There was one Rav that's helping with the identification of the bodies. Some of you saw this. I couldn't believe this. I was with that chevra like the third week, I think, the third week of the war. I did a session with those chevra from the chevra, from the Ranut Tzva'it of Zihui Chalalim. But Eliada Goldvicht was there. He's part of the team that's there. So these are people that are day and night. They haven't stopped, and they keep on going back to the homes. They keep on going back because they realize there's more things that they have to try to collect. Hashem Yirachim. There was one of the Rebbeim that came to that's part of that chevra, that's part of the Zihui Chalalim, the identification of bodies, and he was there, and he's a Rav. He's a Rav. Mm-hmm. And he keeps on, every time the chevra would stop for davening, he never joined the minyan. He just kept on davening. He just kept on working. He didn't stop working. He didn't stop working. He couldn't stop working. Finally, one of them said to them, we're all taking a second here to daven. And he basically said, it's amazing. He knew this is his avodas hakodesh he has to do, but he said, me and God are not ready to talk to each other yet. Wow. That's very, very deep. Because you realize what he's basically saying. I'm right now. It's not that I'm mostly mitzvah patur and mitzvah. It's not that I'm. Right now the famous halacha that if you're busy with the mitzvah, then you're exempt from another mitzvah. That's not what he was saying. He was saying no. On the level of being able to speak to Hashem and have that shalom that we want. Shniya, I'm in Auschwitz. I'm in Majdanek. I'm in Treblinka. I'm not yet, watching the stories of heroes yet. I'm still scraping off, blood and dust and bones from off of cars and homes. But I'm still in it. I'm still here, right? Meaning my chelek and hopefully reaching a place of shalom again will be there. But right now, we're not ready to talk yet. I found that to be one of the most honest and most relatable situations in this whole story. In fact, those that can stop to daven mincha, I don't know how I could talk. This is beyond me. Beyond me. To some of it, let's pause for a second, and now when it's the daven mincha, that's crazy. It's the highest, but it's crazy. That yidla that says, listen, we're not ready to talk yet means we will be ready to talk. Right? So the world is mamish in a state of yemot hachol. The world is in a state of the weekdays where it's a different type of language. It's a different type of relation. But Shabbos comes to bring us to a place of we're ready to talk again, not to have a whole wrestling match, but rather we're ready to see hakol, munhag, everything is directed, everything's in control, everything's taken care of. That's the shalom ha'amiti. Rav Ya'akov Meir Shechter says, when I have shalom with my boreh, when I have peace with my creator, yan. And how he explains this, and this is going to go back to what you brought up. It's very important. Bottom line in the right column. Yan, ki kol ha'machlokot sheyesh ben adam lachavero, shoresh kulam, umishum shechaser be'achdus im Hashem yisbarach. The root of any machloket you have with another human being is really is rooted in lacking achdus with Hashem. Answer you? Yeah. Ki im haya ha'ichud hashalem im Hashem yitbarach, if a person was one with Hashem yitbarach, mimela lo haya shayach chilukei deot. There wouldn't be, it wouldn't lead then to differences of opinions, which lead then to a machloket. Why? Because if you're one with Hashem, the fact that another person has a different opinion says nothing about what you feel about the person. It doesn't dictate to you an iota of how you're charged by the person or not. And this is a very important nekuda. Very, very important nekuda. Those that think they could have shalom with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and their derech is the derech, and I'm going to have machloket with whoever doesn't agree with me, doesn't really have shalom with Hashem. Doesn't really have achdus with Hashem. Then you see brave souls. You know, right now we're learning with the Kollel, we're learning Ma'amar Hador. We did, I think, 3 Hagdamas for Ma'amar Hador of Rav Kook. Rav Kook was a person that had shalom with everyone. Why? Because everyone agreed with him? Not exactly. Or that he agreed with everybody? Not exactly. But he had shalom with his Creator. He had oneness with his Creator. From that place of having oneness with the Creator, your opinion, which is opposing to mine, has no threat on our union, on our love. There's nothing. Rav Shlomo was the same way. People used to always ask him, how could you be with people that ridicule you and mock you? And when you're operating from above, and you have achdut im haboreh, when you have shalom with Hashem, you're not threatened, you're not scared by anyone's mochin dekatnu, stupidity, or whatever you want to call it. This is the shorish. This is the root of peace. Be'im ken, ksherotzim lamshich shalom ba'olam. If you want to be a person that draws down peace into the world, like that's your inyan. When you come to Shemaim, you say, what were you busy with? I was a peace drawer, like I was one that was mamshich shalom ba'olam. They said, really, how'd you do it? And he'll say, barishona tzarich sheyesh shalom ben Hashem yitbarach labriya. I first realized that there has to be peace between Hashem and the creation, meaning me that's nichlal in the creation. Shabbos is restoring peace with creation. And how do we know this? Because in Kabbalat Shabbat, it's not so much about man's oneness with Hashem, before it's more the creation's oneness with Hashem. What are some psukim that allude to this? In Kabbalat Shabbat? Neharot imcha uchaf, az yiranenu kol hatzayar. Right? There's a lot of these psukim that's speaking about the creation is in harmony, praising Hashem. There's shalom with the whole bria, because the whole bria receives a neshama. All of creation receives a new soul. Ki hine yadua brings us beautiful Or HaChaim. Hine yadua biuro shel Or HaChaim HaKadosh al vayichulu hashamayim. Sheka'asher hagia. What's the next page that you have? Ka'asher higia haShabbat harishona shel habriya. When the first Shabbos of creation came, right? Vayichulu hashamayim va'aretz, that we just read. On the one hand, a few weeks ago. On the one hand, we didn't even read it a few weeks ago, when we were supposed to read it a few weeks ago. Nachon? Because there wasn't shalom in the bria. That's what I was looking at this. I was like, there wasn't shalom in the bria, and therefore, many shuls didn't go have the opportunity to read Vayichulu Hashmayim Ba'aretz V'chol Tzava'am. There was churban in the bria. שכאשר הגיעה השבת הראשונה של הבריאה, האיר העולם כולו שנברא זה עתה, the whole world that was just created began to illuminate. שנברא זה עתה על ידי הבורא יתברך שמו באור גדול ונפלא, in such a wondrous light. והשבת פעל שגם החטא לא יפגום בעולם עד לאחר יום השבת. And Shabbos also was poel, it created a situation that the chet that was just done just a few hours before by Eitz Hadas wouldn't be pogim in the bria until Motzei Shabbos. This is a pretty far out thing. Like shayachet, right? But its effect was suspended until after Shabbos. Shabbos had to be shalem, Shabbat Shalom, shalemut. V'lo ya'iv el ha'or ha'ganuz shenimshach la'olam, and it wouldn't harm at all, and it wouldn't belittle the Or HaGanuz, this concealed light that is now being drawn in the world on that first Shabbos. Ki haboreh ha'echad v'ha'yachid v'ha'kadmon bara et habriya, kshetachlita she'haboreh yohav et ha'nivraim, ושהנבראים יאהבו וישתוקקו להתקרב אל הבורא יתברך. This is very important. He's saying that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. Its purpose is that the Creator will be in love with His creations, and His creations will long to be close to His Creator. What does machloket do? What does sin do? Sin doesn't necessarily, we don't know, we can't say this because Hashem always loves us, ahavat olam avtich. But what it definitely does, it starts messing with our attempt to be close again, to draw to be closer again. It's the mechitza that it puts on us to try and draw to be close. V'zeu noam nifla ve'atzum she'en lo shum ketz v'sof. This sweetness, this wonder of the purpose of creation. It's amazing. Like, unfortunately, only places where people really spend a lot of time talking about these kind of concepts are Kabbalah centers. This stuff is constantly being spoken about. Purpose of creation. By us, it's like a statement. We speak about it for a second, then we go back to all the other important things. Shlit'a bria, shniya. Why in the world did Hashem create all this? Why? We get so stuck in details, it's not to be believed. Zel, that was so 9-10. That was so pre-Simchas Torah. So stuck in the details of what we can't afford. This next generation, I looked at those kids' eyes. If you're not going to be speaking to them about the purpose of creation, much more than what was until now, they'll check out fast because they want something bigger. The purpose of creation is what he just said, right? He says it's a noam nifla ve'atzum. This is this sweet, wondrous, peaceful state that has no end, is when a person stops in the morning and says, why did you create me and why did you create the world? You created the world to love what you created, and that we spend our whole lives longing to kind of figure out what's your deal, like, why do you love us so much? And the more I think about that, the more there's shalom, the more I draw shalom in the world. When was the last time the typical, Orthodox Jew spent more than 3 seconds a week thinking about these things? Zeh. This is part of the Great Awakening. This is part of the Great Awakening. It's much, this is a paradigm shift in time. And at least here, in this Beit Midrash, we cannot afford to compromise on 1 second. This is the kind of dibur we have to think at least once a day. At least once a day to remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why is it so hard to do this? Because during the week, because of the struggles that the mundane present before me, I don't have that much peace of mind to actually afford to think about these kind of things. I actually don't want to think about it too much, because then I have all these questions on God. Well, if you really love me, and you really want me to love you, then Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. Shabbos is like okay, restart. Now there's quiet again, and now there's another opportunity to ask the question from a place of machloket. Why did you create me? Why did you create the world? Why are you putting Yidden through so much tzaras? And I stop and I go back to a place of ichud im Hashem yitbarach, oneness with Hashem again. And then I could start again. And this keeps on happening all the time. Now I know that whenever we say this, we're thinking that Vayichulu only means what? Shlemus, like it happened. God finished his zach of creating the world. Vayichulu mileshon nichvesa vegam kalsa nafshi. This is amazing. What does this mean? What does vayichulu come? What's kalta nafshi? Klota nefesh, huh? Emanating from a state of longing, love, dveikus, of nichvesa vegam kalta nafshi, like this place of vayichulu. The soul ascending and tasting again all the wonders that it knows has been waiting for it. It knows it. There was such a longing being drawn from the whole of creation for Hashem, that all of the, how do you say domem and tzomech? inanimate objects of the world, also received souls. The kulam kulo, this is, in Shar Yichud Ve'emunah, the Alter Rebbe speaks about this profoundly, nachon? About how the Bria itself, anything, even the domain, everything has a soul. There's a root soul in everything. The kulam kulo ishtokeku litkarev l'Hashem yitbarach. Everyone, every creation had a longing to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. L'umat zot, Vayichal Elokim bayom hashvi'i et kol melachto. What does it mean that Hashem completed all of His melacha on Shabbos? Biuro, she'Hashem yitbarach ahav et habriya. Ad kan till here with Or Chaim. What does that mean when it says Vayichu Shemaim B'aretz V'chol Tzvaam? Is that Hashem looked at what He created and He said, "This expresses my love. This expresses my love. I'm looking at what I created. This expresses the shleimus of my love in the world." And it's a back and forth of Vayichulu, of Kalta Nafshi, and Vayichulu Kalta Briati. Also, like my Bria is completely filled with longing and dveikus. Looked at it, in the studio. How do you know if you're in Eitz Hadas or Eitz HaChaim? Yonatan, you could relate to this. Other musicians could relate to this. Sometimes the studio is hell, Gehenom. Why? Because you're in there, you're laying down a track, you've worked on it for years, and you always feel like, no, it doesn't express my full emotion of love of what I'm trying to say in the world. Lahavdil elef alfei avdalas. And please, mocham me for mentioning this just to express this, okay? There were approximately 75 mixes, different mixes done for Billie Jean. And they went back to choose the first one, and that's what came out. You know that? This happens also in different musicians with different bass lines. Different bass. If you're not a musician, you don't notice bass. If you're a musician, it's the only thing you notice, actually, the bass line. This happens also with different bass lines. Bass player over here. Bass line. You can try all these different things. Sometimes you go back to that first one. Sometimes you need to keep on doing it. You know what kind of a shichrur from Mitzrayim it is when you sign off on the mix? So if you're zochet to be torn from the shleimus of what you're trying to express, and you could actually say, this expresses what I'm trying to express, you're a very lucky person. You're a very lucky person. It's very rare. It's very rare. And then that second, that today's day and age, used to be the second that you send it off to the CD, to the mif'al, to the factory that would print this. But today it's that moment you click that thing that uploads it to Spotify and whatever. And publishing is like, and you have to look away while you do it because it's like I'm doing it like this. Hashem didn't look away; He looked right, lahavdil. He looked right into the track, and He said, "This, the way it's set up, is set up in a way that this expresses what my heart and soul wants to say to the creation of the world. And there's so much love here that they're going to long for this for the rest of their lives." It's this back and forth of Vayichulu.
But you said it after the sin of Adam and Chava.
Yeah, He even said it, which is even more remarkable. You're right, very deep. He even said it after there was kiviyachol of falling, because he was able to introduce the concept of tshuva, which is shleimus habriya, into the world. Very good what you're saying. V'hine k'shenishlam zeh, we're almost finished. K'shenishlam zeh. When this is completed, what's completed? Sha'echad hishtokek lasheni kivyachol. When the concept of longing, of wanting something holy, is placed into the Bria. You see, into the Bria wasn't a place of you have everything you need, you're set. Within the framework of a completion of God's Briata Olam is, you know how it works? You know what makes you holy? You know what makes you complete? Feeling that you don't have something and wanting it. Feeling that you don't have something holy and wanting it. That actually is a shlemut of the Bria. That's a beautiful completion in the world of Hashem's perfect world here, down here. When this happens, as sarara shalom bishlemut na'ala v'nizgava. This also creates peace. Then peace reigned in its shlemus. A high, exalted form of peace reigns bishlemus. Like what we have the opportunity to do now and here in Eretz HaKodesh. That now there's never been such an awakening of people that are feeling more satiated by wanting something that they know they don't have yet, which is putting Hashem Yitbarach for real in the word Zionism. For real. Hopefully across the board. Within the Chevra down here, like within the Am, en shum sheilot about that longing. Where don't listen to anyone that has anything official to say. They're still stuck in Pre-Simchas Torah. All of them. It's anyone that's active right now in the Maracha of Mamish Am Yisrael is clearly speaking words of understanding the Tachlit of Bria, to draw you down, Hashem, into the world right now. And this, this is the greatest Shalom in the world. Not whatever has dared, whatever, God forbid, people are already thinking about it, what they're going to do with pieces of Eretz Yisrael that have been abused and raped. Rather, mamash betoch ha'am. This drawing for hitkarvut is exactly what the Am is sounding like. This is it. I saw now another katava of another very proud, non-religious chef or another restaurant that said, I want you to know, we didn't pay for the hechsher to have a kashrus all these years because we know about the shtuyot and the politics that go in the Rabbanut regarding getting kosher certificates, right? And he also said, and we also know everything here is kosher, but we are open on Shabbos, but we know everything's kosher here. He said, but now for our brothers and sisters to be able to eat and not even think twice, we kashered everything and didn't ask any questions. Meaning we kashered. We did whatever we had to get an official stamp of the kashrut. Like this is, and where is this coming from? From here? No, it's coming from down here. It's coming from, this is where it's coming from. This longing for something bigger is now, this is like, we're reaching places of shleimut habriya in such a magnificent way. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's exactly what you just said. You spoke about the Shoah and the response of Amcha after the Shoah, which unfortunately for many people, understandably in many respects, they want to run away. They didn't want to look Hashem in the face. And it's literally the exact opposite.
So true.
Exactly. I'm speaking to people.
So true.
Many people in my industry, and they're speaking in terms Baruch Hashem, Bezrat Hashem. It's I've never seen it before.
Now we could now see now the avoda on us has never been. We have never had more responsibility ever in our lives, to be able to convince, like Rav Dov Zinger was telling me last night. He's telling his students to be able to convince all those that were screaming busha for months and months and months, to really now explain to them that what their soul was really screaming was Kedusha. He said to me last night. That's what they're really screaming. They thought they were screaming Busha. We have to show them what their soul is screaming is Kedusha. I found that to be so accurate and so beautiful.
The number one item sold in Eretz Yisrael over the past month was
tzitzis. Second column, we'll finish this up. The oneness between Hashem and His creation was in shleimus. At the moment that Hashem looked at everything He created, He said, "This expresses my love." And we looked at everything Hashem created and saw ourselves in it, and says, "And we're gonna now long to love you and understand this love for the rest of our lives." Bli chisaron klal, nothing was missing. And like we learned in the beginning of the Chanal Shabbat Chabura, what does a person have to feel when he goes into Shabbos, regardless of any email he didn't get to? Kol malachtecha asuya. Like Rav Kluger taught us in one of the Mamarim, Klum chaser bebeit hamelech. There's nothing missing in the house of the king. V'zeu ribui ha'ta'anug she'ayin lo rata. This is such a delight that an eye can't see this. No one, you can't. It's beyond it. V'zeu inyan Shabbat, and this is what Shabbos is really all about. Ve'lachen birkat Shabbat hamekubeleti good no. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbos Shalom. Yeah, Shabbos Shalom. Therefore, really, the proper bracha when it comes to Shabbos is Shabbat Shalom. Like, you see what he did with this? This is why the proper thing is Shabbat Shalom. This is why the first word you say when you're in your house on Friday night is Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Now, I'm just like, I know, like, next time I get up in shul and I start saying Good Shabbos, you'll wink at me, everyone, and be like, what are you It's En Ma Lasot. Good Shabbos Good Shabbos is the second. The first one is Shabbos Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. That really, really is the ptimius of it. Yeah, Yeshua.
You can't help but notice that. We all grew up in America, whatever, with Good Shabbos. But here in Israel,
it's true. It's true. It's only Eretz.
There's a certain point in your aliyah when you make the switch.
For some, yeah. I don't want. No. I'm not taking. I'm not. No Kabbalahs here. I'm saying that. Whatever it, we will stick. Good Shabbos to me is. You know what it is. Good Shabbos to me, for me personally, is Zaidi. You know, Good Shabbos is Masorah for me. Good Shabbos is the 6 million. Right. Good Shabbos is everything that turned me on to Shabbos. I'll tell you the truth. Shabbat Shalom did not turn me on to Shabbos. I had people telling me Shabbat Shalom my whole life. Rebbeim, it didn't have any influence of Shabbos on me. Now the tikkun is to be able to say, you know, like you just said, it's Shabbos Shalom. I don't know, whatever it is, but to think about the purpose of it. It's like I have a good friend that grew up very, very Haredi, and he hated it so much and rebelled, and then found his way back through more of the Eretz Yisrael kind of chevra, right? And one Shabbos we were and I very open about admitting this. That world is not the world that I grew up in the chinuch. Didn't turn me on. If it wasn't, you know, just my father singing at the Shabbos table was Shabbos. Anything from the world I grew up in, it didn't really do anything to me till on my own, more through Chassidus. We're driving one Shabbos to Tzfat, or I said Tzfas. He would get so angry at me whenever I said Tzfas, even though he grew up saying Tzfas, and now he can only say Tzfat. For me, Tzfas. I don't know whatever it was. It was such a funny thing in him. It's like Hanan Ben Ari just told me that he, for years, couldn't listen to Rav Shlomo, right? Why? Because the song he quoted was, he's like, Aloha v'zoicher, v'zoicher, chaz de'ovois. And I said to him, Achi, כשאני שומע מישהו שר וזוכר, חס דאבד, זה מביא אותי למקום לא טוב של טיש, שהכריחו אותנו לשיר בתיכון. Like this, like, you know, mandatory, like, emotion hour now, you know. Right. So it's all, we're trying to go above those things of pronunciations to the place of real shalom, to be people that are mamshich shalom ba'olam. So I want to just give you all the koach as much as I can to realize there is an opportunity right now to be mamshich shalom amiti ba'olam achshav. And it's really because the point that you harped on right now. Instead of running away from Hashem, everyone right now is running to Hashem. Everyone, Be'ezrat Hashem, will continue to be running to Hashem for this kisufim, this vayechulu of kal tanafshi kind of vayechulu, so that we could, our chelek could be ones that bring the concept of shalom ba'olam, real shalom ba'olam, to be those that are mevaser tov, matzmiach yeshua, mevaser tov, matzmiach yeshua for everyone. And hopefully even this Shabbos, that first word we say when we get into our house tonight, and we say shalom, even if it starts right there, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. And again, please mochel me if we say good Shabbos, but you know what I mean. We're going above it. Be mamshich shalom ba'olam, and remember, oev shalom ve'rodev shalom. I said this when we did the siyum at Shalashudis, and all the chaver from Gush were there. I said the Torah from Reb Simcha ben Reb Shescha. Everyone thinks Aaron HaKohen was this, Oyev Shalom, he's just coming and making peace between people, and people hated him, and he said, oh, it's okay, I'm going to run after you with hugs, even though you're trying to stab me. Rodev Shalom, Reb Simcha ben Shescha says, is that you run after those that are preventing Shalom from being in the world until they're out of the picture. That's Rodev Shalom. That's real Rodev Shalom. Our chelik should be in that, in all pieces of Shalom, and hopefully bring nachas ruach to Hashem. Shabbos, everyone.